Hi Jim, nice to see you today. Did some good work in today's session. Just want to cover a few things that we discussed during that session. Really one of the areas that we talked about was mainly the hip sway in your backswing. And then we're saying that you've got a lot of work to do to make up for that movement that you've got. So just to show you, the start of your golf swing, you're actually starting with the sway of your hips, and the movement to the right with your hips is just taking everything else far too much to the right hand side. You do very well to recover from that and get through the golf ball pretty well. So taking you there, like I say, but with the weight transfer you've got so much movement coming back into the golf ball, you're not able to get your weight across the left hand side, creating that consistency of the strike. You can just see again the upper centre of your golf swing there is actually behind the centre line, and your hips have just returned back to where they started. So a lot of movement there in the swing. You do make some good movements to recover from that, but just not getting you over far enough to the left hand side to make that consistency of the strike. So what we did, we tried to get you to stay a little bit more centred during the golf swing. So if we have a quick look here at Luke Donald, again the same lines up indicating his hip sway. Like I say, so he's staying much more centred during that golf swing. Very little lateral movement there to the right hand side during the backswing, and all the movement he's got now is being pushed to the left hand side. So that's the weight transfer we're looking at. So his swing centre is now in front of his original starting position. You can see his hips have travelled about 4 or 5 inches beyond where they started also. That's allowing him to get his upper body slightly in front of the golf ball, getting the descending blow into the golf ball itself, creating the consistency in the strike. Now, one thing that we did discuss when you was taking your setup position and trying to keep your hips more centred, I've got to say that you did it quite well. But one thing I did notice is that your spine angle was actually leaning forward slightly, so it's leaning a little bit towards your target. So if we do a quick comparison here with Luke Donald, you can see his spine's actually leaning backwards away from his target. So what I did for yourself is I actually got you to push your hips, I'll just change the colour, got you to push your hips a little bit more that way. So that actually changed your spine angle to be more on that sort of position. So your actually spine angle is actually now, instead of aiming towards your target, is aiming slightly backwards and away from it. So what that did, when you made your backswing and the turn in your backswing trying to keep your hips more centred, that allowed your upper body to stay over the top of your hips much better. When your spine angle was leaning towards your target, when you made the backswing and stayed with your hips centred, your upper body and your spine angle actually increased in angle, but it went towards your target, and what that did, it caused you to get in front of the golf ball too much, and then you came down into the ball too steeply. So just remember, when you're setting up to the ball, just have your hips a little bit more to the left, and changing your spine angle so your spine angle's leaning backwards away from the target slightly. So just a little bit more towards that green line there in your spine angle. The other part of the swing we looked at was the path of the swing itself. So here on the right hand side, if we take you to the path of the swing on the downswing into impact, you can just see as we're coming down there, so you just release the club a little bit too soon, and that allows the club to get outside of your hand, outside of the ball, and then from that position you're actually pulling the club, back towards the golf ball a little bit too quickly to the left hand side. Now we said you got good rotation, so what that did, it made your club face square to your swing path. It was close to your target but square to your swing path, so you hit a lot of shots too far to the left. So what we said about that was to try and maintain the wrist angle, or the 90 degrees wrist cock, try and maintain that for as much as you can, and actually try and keep the golf club behind you. So as you can see at the moment, that you can see obviously the shaft's out there in front of you. we want to try and keep the shaft more behind you there. So the club head stays slightly behind the hand, which is also then allowing you to deliver that golf club from an inside position. So the club's actually coming in from an inside position, and then the natural arc of your body is going to bring it back on the inside. So at the moment you're getting the club slightly outside of you, outside of your hand and outside of the ball, working on an out to in swing path. We're trying to change that to keep the club slightly behind your hand, being delivered into the ball from an inside position, which will certainly make your shots much more consistent and get the ball flying to target much better. So you keep working on those drills. If you've got any problems, just give me a call. But I'll look forward to seeing you again very soon.